How's it going, guys? It's time for Scourge patch notes. Small little update on my expedition journey. Gotten two of the challenges remaining. I need one more. I need to defeat Verona without getting hit by collapsing stars, or defeat the Maven. I fought the Maven. It took 17 minutes, and I still died. The fight's crazy. I did so well, and yeah, couldn't pull it out. And I've spent 5 exalts on a level 71 Verana and got hit by one projectile. And I'm currently farming up money to do that again. Working on it in the trade league. But anyways, it's time for patch notes. Okay, so let me swap camera here. So the table of contents doesn't want to fit on the screen. I like to zoom this up. So it's more readable in the video. There's a lot going on here. Well, I'm just gonna skim through this. A lot of this has already been covered on my channel. A lot of it's just copy pasted from the 3 days of balance manifestos. So let's just go for it. Send it. Scourge League. You get Crucible, Challenge League, you get challenges. Let's see here. New Intelligence Gem, Energy Blade. Grants a buff which significantly lowers your maximum energy shield to transform your equipped weapons into swords formed from that energy. Casting the spell again removes the buff. Requires a non-bow weapon. Dex Intelligence Skill Gem Temporal Rift reserves mana to apply a buff and leave after images of your recent past. Cast the spell again to return to the oldest after image, teleporting you to that location, as well as resetting your life, mana, and energy shield to the values they had then. Really cool. As a new Dex Int Skill Gem Tornado. Create a tornado that repeatedly damages enemies around it. It will move forward for a duration, during which your projectiles can collide with it to deal damage as though it was an enemy. Then it will chase down enemies for a secondary duration and reflect a portion of the damage it took from your projectiles to them in addition to its own damage. Also really cool. New Dex Skill Gem, Poisonous Concoction, throws an explosive bottle that deals unarmed attack damage in an area and has a chance to poison. Can consume charges from a life flask to add further damage. Requires empty main hand and no offhand weapon. Cool. And then there are 6 link skills. First is called Soul Link. Targets an allied player to apply a buff which links you to them for a duration. While linked, your energy shield will intercept some of the damage they would take. If the target dies while linked, you also die. The skill cannot be used by totems, traps, or mines. So then Protective Link. Targets an allied player to apply a buff, which links you to them for a duration. While linked, they copy your block chance and recover life when they block. This is nuts. I think this is going to be extremely broken. For defensive, support characters. And for any of these linked skill gems, if the linked target dies, you will also die. Intelligence Gem, Intuitive Link. Targets an allied player to apply a buff which links you to them for a duration. While linked, their hits can trigger your supported spells. So, when they hit, it'll trigger a spell. Cool. There's 3 more. Vampiric Link, Flame Link, and Destructive Link, which are being held back for now for teasers later. 13 new div cards, 6 new uniques, which seems a little low, but that's fine, given that Scourge can change a lot of items. Please read Parandus removal. Yeah, Expedition is replacing Parandus. Makes sense. Expedition is just a better Parandus with more going on. We get tainted chromatic orbs, tainted jeweler's orbs, tainted fusing orbs, tainted blessings. Currency item that can be placed in the divine font to allow enchantment of corrupted gloves, boots, or helmets. Cool. Sacred orb, which randomizes the numeric values of base defenses on armor. Cool stuff. Okay. Minor new content features. Added 2 new gem socket notches options. Small notches and a large pattern. This is for colorblind accessibility. Tell sockets apart. Stackable items drop from chests and as rewards from enemy encounters such as Delve, Ritual, Incursion, Delirium, and Blight will no longer drop multiple stacks of the same item. They instead collate it into a single combined stack of the item. Awesome. Map fragments for the Apex of Sacrifice, Alluring Abyss, Shaper's Realm, Absence of Value and Meaning, in the Pale Court now have a stack size of 10. Scarabs also now have a stack size of 10. Huge. Incubators now display item level on their item tooltip and icon. It is now possible to stack incubators of the same type and item level with a stack size of 10. Also fantastic. It is now possible to promote a party member to replace you as the leader of a party if you are the current leader. Also fantastic. An explosive or poisonous flask will now be visually attached to your character's belt when socketing the explosive concoction or poisonous concoction skills with your equipped items. They have the visual buff effect of bone armor. The monsters in Act 2 have had their visual effects updated, and the existing animations of many monsters have been improved. We'll be reviewing the balance of monsters in Act 2 and in future patches. So they didn't buff everything like they did in Act 1, make it crazy harder. That's coming later, I guess. And continue to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Alright, expedition changes. Added to the core game, 8% chance to encounter it. Expedition artifacts are no longer tradable. So you use them yourself. Logbooks have a maximum area level of 83. Replace Paradis Scarabs with new Expedition Scarabs. Cool. Logbooks now display their area level. The incubators are now Kalguran incubators. Give you Expedition item. Delirium orbs are now Kalguran Delirium orbs. Existing metamorph organs that previously gave Paradis rewards will instead provide Expedition item rewards. Expedition rewards cannot be obtained from new metamorph encounters. So this only exists on legacy metamorph stuff. Rog's crafting prices have been tweaked so that common artifacts aren't in higher demand than lesser and greater artifacts. But strange. Monsters spawned in expedition encounters now have 35% less chance to spawn beyond portals on death. Okay. Expedition faction currency chests are now more common than other chests in expedition logbooks. So this is a nerf to logbooks. It's now you're gonna get more expedition currency than the full barrage of everything you could ever want. Reading monsters now duplicated is now rarer. Permanent modifiers and to drop additional. Okay, so this is nerfed. 20% chance for map unique from 35. Permanent modifiers found in expedition sites that grant runic monsters and chests the chance to drop an additional gem, weapon, jewelry item, or armor can now be found at all levels of expedition sites, previously up to level 67. Okay. And added new expedition watchstone modifiers. Okay, Paradis removal. Paradis Manor's gone. The Mare and Squandered Prosperity div cards can no longer be obtained. The following uniques have been added to the core drop pool: 7 League Step, Umbilicus Immortalis, Tripanon, Veranostra, and Serpi's Last Breath. Ivory Temple map boss has been replaced. Hated that map boss. Really did. Okay, guild improvements. You can now control click items from your inventory into a guild stash. All of the specialized Stash tabs can be added to guild tabs. There's updates to guild stash history. There's now guild hideouts, which feature a map, device, and crafting bench that can be used by all guild members. Guild leaders can select which hideout to use for guild hideouts from ones they have discovered throughout the game. Microtransaction hideouts can also be purchased to be used for a guild hideout from donated guild points. Microtransaction hideouts purchased for personal hideouts do not grant the ability to use them as guild hideouts, so it has to be a separate purchase. And same with hideout decorations that are purchasable. Okay, hideout improvements. If a hideout closes with portals still open, it no longer prevents access to the map. Instead, whenever a player joins a hideout or guild hideout, any previously open portals are reopened if the destination map still exists. Interesting. Map portals to empty map instances will not expire so long as the map owner remains in either their hideout or guild hideout. Master level and favor system completely removed. You now have unlimited access to a range of hideout decorations. You don't no longer have to purchase them. There's now a tag search system for hideout decorations. Result of these changes, the Forsaken Masters achievement is now completed after defeating each of the Master's most dangerous foe, the Vault Omnitect, All, Barrel, the Syndicate Mastermind, and the Shaper Elder. Watchstone modifiers that granted increased favors, gone. And Prophecy. Oh, okay. The Atlas passive is being removed. Favor. Okay, Uber in-game content. Blight Ravaged map can contain 9 anoints, up to 3 of the same type. These are T14 maps and above that these can be obtained. Unrelenting Timeless Emblems can drop from Domain of Timeless Conflict encounters, which makes this much harder. Many Legion monsters have had the maximum distance. They're able to use their long-range skills, reduced. It's cool. Flawless Breachstones, which are more challenging. That's more rewarding. I don't remember how those are obtained. Rare monsters and breach domains now drop additional reward type, with rare monsters and flawless streak dropping 2 additional reward types. Breach domain areas now have additional random modifiers. Areas from flawless breaches have 2, so breaches are going to be harder. They're going to get random mods, like synthesis maps. Loot acquired from killing monsters in breach domains now drops upon reaching the boss arena portal instead of dropping throughout the encounter. As somebody who runs lots of 6-man breachstones, pure breachstones, that is absurd. There are so many monsters, so much loot that is going to drop at the end of those, and 6-man parties. Yikes, is all I'm going to say there. 10 additional waves to Simulacrum, now is a total of 30, and it gets harder. The drop rate of Delirium Orbs from Delirium encounters has also been increased. Okay, Atlas and map changes. There's now 16 Watchstones from 32, only 118 maps from 164. Following maps have been removed: Academy, Arachnid Tomb, Arena, Bazaar, Beach, Rip, Belfry, Bramble Valley, Yay, Burial Chambers, Page, Castle Ruins, Channel, City Square, Cold River, Colonnade, Coral Ruins. I'd be fine never seeing that one again. Courthouse, Coves, Rip, Raider, Crystal Ore, Desert Spring. There better still be a way to drop the 6-link bow div card. Maybe that's included in here somewhere. Excavation, Factory, Frozen Cabins. I thought this map was really cool. Geode, Graveyard. That boss sucks anyways. Iceberg. Is there going to be cold warbands in another map? I don't know. Infested Valley, Every Temple, Jungle Valley, Lava Chamber, Marshes, Mesa, Pin, Peninsula, Phantasmagoria, Pier, Precinct, Primordial Pool, Ramparts, Residence, Scriptorium, Shipyard, Shrine, Villa, and Volcano. So all those maps no longer are going to exist this league. They might come back in future leagues, but how it is. Okay. Unlock requirements for Xana's map device have been reduced relative to the decrease in the number of maps in the Atlas. Each bonus you complete gives 1.5% instead of 1. Item base types specific to the Atlas have had their drop regions updated, with some being shuffled to other regions. Atlas rings now drop in tier 11 or higher maps, previously tier 6 or higher. So the base types are like listed which region they can found in. Additional targets for the following prophecies have been added since their original maps were removed. Captured boss progress in the Uncharted Realms is no longer lost in permanent leagues when the Atlas is shuffled. That's cool. Option for Maven to release all bosses at once is now a modifier found on Maven invitations and will no longer occur unless you open an invitation with this modifier. Okay, so no more just like 10 all 10 of them coming out at once. You can roll that on the invitation though. Map bosses required to upgrade your Pantheon changed. Crafting recipes previously unlocked in maps that have been removed are now found in other maps. Many divination cards have found new homes as a result of Atlas changes. Go through that is what I'm looking for. Imperial Legacy. Imperial Legacy is not listed on here. And that scares me because Imperial Legacy was removed from being able to be farmed in the Vastirdi Desert and S9, the foothills, and the Oasis, and it no longer is in the desert map or the dunes map. So hopefully that doesn't like go missed. Maybe there's more here that than they listed, but that's one. So Atlas passive changes. I'm not going to go through this. Everything's getting crazy changes. It's not going to make sense. It'll make sense when we have a chance to look at the Atlas passives in their form. Okay, Delve changes. Current state of Delve leaves players having to spend a huge amount of time playing through relatively easy content, so now it'll push down to up to level 80 Delve. Without you having gone to Delve. Base soul fight capacity is 1200 instead of 600, and they increased the difficulty, so deeper Delve, you don't have to go as deep to get to the difficult stuff. So depth 1500 encounters are now roughly equivalent to depth 6000. Yeah, Bloodstain Fossils now corrupt an item, granting them a corrupted implicit modifier, previously granted vol modifier. Enchanted fossils have been renamed deft fossils, which now grant more critical modifiers and no attribute modifiers, previously lab enchants. Rusted fossils has been renamed fundamental fossils, which now grant more attribute modifiers and no critical modifiers, previously granted more sockets. Tangled fossils now makes a random modifier type much more likely and prevents another random modifier type, previously granted any fossil modifiers. The effects are fully revealed once a resonator is fully socketed. So it'll show you what it does, I guess, once you put all the sockets in. Alchemic resonators are gone. They're all chaos ones now, but they will still function. Alright. We covered this before. Lab changes. You no longer need to run the labs, but you still need the offering that can be obtained from T6 maps or higher. Ailment mitigation. Yeah, this has all been covered. Flask has been covered. Yep. Core defenses and recovery. We went over this. There's a whole video just covering what is listed here. Glad they did that because this is ridiculous. Alright, support characters, auras and other reservation effects. This has been covered. curses, elemental damage over time. Gone over that. All right, passive tree. Clusters often have the exact same stats as other clusters, and some have niche stats that are wasted on many builds. Make clusters more unique compared to each other, as well as having clear identity. Remove niche or unneeded stats entirely, or shift them to masteries. Once you improve many notables that had secondary stats removed, rework some clusters to perform another more useful function. So we are now getting masteries. Once you allocate a single notable in the passive tree, so like let's say this right here, Revenge of the Hunted, now you'll be able to allocate another point in here, which will allow you to select a mastery from a set type based on the number of that type of passive elsewhere. Like this one's daggers. This is like elemental stuff. This is flasks. There's like this is poison. So this one's a dagger. This one's a dagger. So these will have access to the same pool of masteries, for example. But the passive tree is going to be completely different. It's not even going to be easy to like plan out a build until we have the full details of the passive tree. So I'm probably going to skip over most of the passive tree stuff here. Damage over time builds had fewer clusters available compared to hit builds, and those clusters often spread power between damage over time multipliers and increased damage, devaluing other sources of increased damage of their build. So improving existing damage over time clusters with a focus on multi or other damage over time stats, and rework clusters for better damage over time builds. So the dots got buffed. Your cold dots got buffed because elemental overload being removed from a possibility. Elemental equilibriums being completely reworked, and more is being given to the tree. So I think cold dot's going to be completely fine without the elemental overload and stuff. The amount of life granted by a Scion life wheel is being lowered. %9 life has been removed from the Scion's life cluster, and improved life clusters have gained 2 to 4% increased life. So it's roughly the same if you take multiple life clusters. Okay. Uneven spread of keystones around the tree. Certain areas have higher density than others. Some keystones are out of place. Spread keystones throughout the tree, moving them in appropriate locations. So all of this, like, we're going to have to see the passive tree to see what happens here. With the removal of dodge, some players lost a way to mitigate monster abilities that always hit. Reviewed monsters' abilities that always hit. Removed always hit from all fodder monsters, such and some boss abilities where appropriate. I think the Maven ability, where she says Cascade of Pain, and shoots those, I feel like those always hit no matter what. And I'm always playing dodge characters that always get hit by those. So maybe something like that changed. So there are skills on Cluster Jewels, Holy Conquest. The brands attached to a new enemy each time they activate, which is really good for Wintertide brand, and Penance brand is now being a mastery. So the Cluster Jewels being changed, as well as Warcries contain a minimum of 10 power. And your shocks can increase damage taken by up to a maximum 60%. These are all going to be masteries that you can select in the passive tree. Ascendancy changes, Gladiator and Trickster have had a notable from the Ascendancy move to the passive tree. Many Ascendancies have the power of their notables affected by the change to defenses. So, Gladiator and Trickster are getting new Ascendancy nodes. Chieftain is getting the physical damage from hits taken as fire buffed, but the recovery, if you've taken fire damage, lowered. Because recovery's been granted to flasks in a big way. It's fine. Painforge now has +10 to chance to block attack damage, can't be stunned by it. So now paired with the old mod that got removed. Oh no, this is just 10 to block chance, and this one gives you 10 to maximum block chance. And and flat evasion. Armor per block chance. Violent Retaliation now has ignore enemy monster physical damage reduction if you block in the past 20 seconds. Attack damage is lucky if you block in the past 20 seconds. So they made Gladiator workable. You can still get to 60% chance to block attacks and spells with the old node that's now notable in the passive tree. Alright, Inquisitor. This upsets me. Highest Path now grants 50% increased effective consecrated ground you create. I don't like this. I even leveled a character to 100 named Pious Path Curse Immune, please. I believe it fits with Pious Path. They removed ailment immunity while on consecrated ground. There's nothing else on any ascendancy that makes you immune to curses. I wanted them to give that to Inquisitor. It seemed fitting, it seemed thematic, while on consecrated ground. They didn't do that, but alright, so Raider no longer has the insane dodge. It now gets 40% chance to suppress spell damage and still permanent phasing. Avatar the Veil no longer gives the accuracy reduction, but still gives the the exposure or whatever. And Avatar the Chase now grants 10% more chance to evade attacks during onslaught. It's not split into two parts. So this has been nerfed, but evasion's being buffed across the board, so that's fine. Patient Reaper has been nerfed from 70 to 50%. That's not too bad. Escape Artist no longer requires Ghost Dance. 5% increased attack and cast speed per Ghost Shroud, or no longer grants that, or cannot be stunned while you have Ghost Shroud. So I don't know what that's going to look like. Added a new notable, which replaces Ghost Dance that provides every 10 seconds, take no damage over time for 5 seconds. Hey, Born in the Shadows now gets 15% reduced damage taken from blind enemies, previously 10. This is a good change. I've wanted, I was asking for buffs to Saboteur, reduced damage taken. Along these lines, and that's good. Ascendant changes to Trickster, Raider, and Gladiator. Alright, Awakened support gems are all being granted buffs to level 5 support gems. You can read through this if you'd like. But for the gist here is they're all being buffed, pretty much. Awakened added fire damage now gives +1 physical skill gems. Awakened burning damage gives +1 fire gems. Control destruction gives a chance to unnerve enemies, which causes 10% increased damage taken. Some of them are just having numbers buffed. Awakened elemental damage taken at level 5 now says elemental damage from supported skills cannot be reflected. That's amazing. Awakened elemental focus gives +1 to supported elemental skill gems. That's used in my cold dot builds, and that's going to be +1 to Vortex and Cold Snap for me. So that's huge. So yeah, all of these are interesting. And no, Hex Touch does not give an additional curse again. It's just giving +1 to level of curse at level 5. I really like the additional curse on the Hex Touch, but it was overpowered. I'll give it that. So yeah, all those are getting buffed. Melee range. Remove melee range from some strike gems and add new sources of melee range to the passive tree. Details here. Gems being changed. That shield skills. Lower the flat added damage bonus on shield-based skills and rebalance the added damage to slightly lower the damage of the skill in general. Shield charge in particular has much lower base damage, but now gets more added damage based on the defense of your shield. Overall, this is a slight damage loss for players using a high defensive shield. So Shield Crush now has a higher base attack time. Buffed early game, nerfed late game. kind of middle range, so they're not. It's not increasing attack speed. Spectral shield throw getting nerfed on the flat damage. By a lot. Okay, Spectral shield throw is getting nerfed by quite a substantial margin. Spectral shield throw, Helm Enchant getting nerfed. Beak Jewel giving off crit chance per max ES. Got nerfed. Existing items can be updated to these new values with a Divine Orb and a temporary lapse in Judgment. Alright, Forbidden Rite and Totems. So, Forbidden Rite was kind of mitigating the downside of Forbidden Rite on Totems. So they're changing the way Totems mitigate damage so that they have much less total health, but take significantly less damage from enemy hits and damage over time, more than compensating for the health loss in normal situations. Adjusting some sources of totem life and totem chaos resistance. Rebalance Dark Pact to partially offset the changes to totem life when used on totems, while buffing the skill for casting yourself. Also rebalance the unique Torchoke step to account for the life reductions on totems. So this was going to be my League Starter build recommendation, was Forbidden Rite totems, but they're nerfing this. They're nerfing Soul Mantle, Totem Life, nerfing Torchoke Step, Totem Life, Ancestral Might Cluster Jewel Notable gives Totem Life now. And change to Dark Pact. Sacrifices 8% of skeletons' life to do that much chaos damage, previously 6%. And yeah, damage buff. Okay, that's the totems. Alright, other 3.15 skills. Improving Voltaxic Burst, Explosive Concoction, Absolution, and Ambush. So these are the only other skills being changed here. Absolution now has +0 to radius at gym level 1, up to +4 at gym level 20. That's a buff. Explosive Concoction now has 115% base attack speed, which is a buff, and increased base crit, which is a buff. Voltaxic Burst now has 1% more damage with hits and ailments for each cast of this spell currently waiting at all gym levels. So increasing duration, making it longer for them to go off, will increase the damage of it substantially. Whereas when I played Voltaxic Burst, you wanted to lower the duration as much as possible. So that brings another playstyle there. But Voltaxic Burst converts lightning damage into chaos damage. The only way to get the full damage conversion is to use a bow. And in Ultimatum League, I think, they remove the ability to roll spell stuff on quivers. So it just... This skill still has a very weird spot. I think it needs something else as well. Ambush no longer has exert attacks, have 200 to 76% increased crit chance, and now gives a flat 25% to base crit chance. So if you have an 8% base crit weapon, add 25% to that is 33% crit chance with no other. And then if you have 200% crit chance across the tree and other gear, that's 100% crit chance. So that's easily to do if you're speccing in crit at all. And the Divergent Ambush has had the flat base crit converted into percent crit chance. Absolution now grants 25% chance to summon a Central Absolution on hitting a rare or unique enemy instead of guaranteed. That's a nerf. Okay. Also tweak the description of Dominating Blow to more accurately describe its functionality. Alright. Updated from this to 25% chance to summon a normal Sentinel of Dominance on hitting a unique monster. It's not a functional change, so it's just a wording change. Cast on melee kill, cast on crit, and cast while channeling have separate cost and reservation multipliers for attacks and spells, but this can't be communicated. Change these supports to have the same cost reservation multiplier for attacks and spells, adjusting the cost not to shift the combined mana cost significantly. So the following support gems now have 120% cost and reservation multiplier, previously 140% for attacks and 100% for spells. So all of these are getting 120% cost multiplier. Spectral Throw mana cost is being lowered to 5 based at gem level 1, previously 7, so you're not going to run out of mana with the Mana Flask fighting Hillock on the beach, which is great. Forge Strength is too weak relative to the improved core defenses, so they're buffing the base ward on all the stuff. Breach Unique Balance. Bunch of stuff being changed here. Tollfall Unique 1 now has guaranteed power charge on killing a frozen enemy, up from 50, and 15 to 20% increased cold damage per frenzy charge, which is a buff. Estus Vidge's Unique Shield now has chaos damage, does not bypass energy shield while not on low life, previously on low life or low mana. This change affects existing items. It also now has plus 70 to 100 maximum life, which is a buff. Existing items can be updated. Uniting Dream Unique Sword now grants level 25 MV, which was 15, which affects existing items, and has a buff to the minion damage. Skin of Lord's Unique Body Armor now grants plus 2 to the level of Socketed Gems, previously plus 1. Divine Orb can update them if they weren't corrupted already. Following Keystone passive skills will now appear on Skin of Lord's Unique Body Armor. Divine Shield, Ghost Dance, Iron Will, Leaf Shade, Mage Bane, Solipsism, and Versatile Combatant. Voice of the Storm and Choir of the Storm unique amulets now grant critical strike chance is increased by overcapped lightning resistance. Previously increased by lightning resistance. Choir of the Storm now has minus 30 to lightning res. Right, critical tag has been added where necessary. It didn't exist before. Tag can be found on Ambush, Assassin's Mark, Battle Mage's Cry, Blade Fall, Blade Vortex, Fall Blade Vortex, Cobra Lash, Destructive Link. A lot of these are strange for like crits. Frost Shield has a crit tag. Ice Spear makes sense. Icicle Mine, Lightning Spire Trap, Vol Lightning Trap, Precision, Power Siphon, Vol Power Siphon, Summon Ice Golem, and Zealotry. Some of these are odd. Yeah, and relevant critical support gems. Atziri unique drops being changed. Pledge of Hands now drops off of Uber Atziri, and Atziri's Disfavor drops off of normal Atziri. And Atziri's Acuity has had the crit chance buffed. And the last one, Standing Divination card now can drop from killing Duresso in the Colosseum, previously from Hall of Grandmasters. I thought these only came from stacked decks. I've never seen one of those drop because I don't do that map. Alright, Clever Construction. Alright, all traps and mines are now given invulnerability from damage for 2 seconds after they've been thrown. That can be buffed through a Trap and Mine Mastery to give them full damage immunity. So they're not going to get instantly killed by Brutus now in Act 1. This is great. Vol Immortal Call can be kept active permanently by using legacy items in permanent leagues. Solution: increase the cooldown time of Vol Immortal Call significantly. This was being used to cheese Deep Delve for the longest time. Civics: Vol Immortal Call now has a cooldown time of 60 seconds, previously 3 seconds. RIP. Unwavering Focus. Cluster Jewel Notable can be stacked to reduce the cost of channeled skills to 0, including non-mana costs. This isn't usually worth the opportunity cost, but it's problematic interactions. Replace cost reduction with another effect. Chance to avoid being stunned while channeling. And channeling skills deal increased damage. Some unique map bosses had too high of an ailment threshold compared to the other bosses on Atlas with all watchstones active. Bring the ailment threshold of bosses with the very high ailment thresholds in line with others. Okay. Fine. Delve, Prophecy, and Incursion Crafts are all being moved to maps. Including metacrafting modifiers being found in unique maps. So the Prophecy mods are now going to be found in unique maps, and the other ones will just be found in normal maps. So your socket modifying stuff is going to be found in maps now rather than in Delve. Veiled crafting mods unlock all tiers from a single unveil. Cool. Sacred Blossom. So Replica Forbidden Shaco is better than Forbidden Shaco that drops from Oshabi. They're changing Forbidden Shaco into Replica Forbidden Shaco, and Replica Forbidden Shaco is gone. Added damage on quivers. Added more tiers of added damage on quivers to increase their power. This is cool. Wow. Substantially increase that. Good stuff. Quivers now the same modify progression for added physical damage as those on amulets. So it can now go to, yeah, much higher. Changes to things on quivers. Quivers on unarmed characters are now going to be disabled. Skill gem weapon restrictions are now displayed on the skills. Some enchantments, like Helm Enchants, gave cast speed. They're now giving trap throwing speed. Golem life regeneration, 2% on stone golems, previously 1%, and 1% of life regen added to all of the other golems. Harvest craft changes. They're getting rid of the alks. They're all going to be chaos now. So crafts that previously reforged normal or magic item to a rare with specific modifier can now reforge rare items, which is cool. So you're going to get more crafts out of Harvest as a result of this. Synthesis, map mods. I think they're getting like buffs to pack size, pretty much. Item quantity and rarity, which is cool. Triggered marks. You cannot trigger a mark if there is a marked target. 2 tornado skills. Sackawall's Flock unique helmet has a skill called Tornado, which is now the name of your skill gem, so that has been renamed to Twister. Still a meme. Syndicate Operative Spectres. Oh, this is a big change. Certain projectile abilities used by Incursion Architects, Syndicate Operatives, and bosses based on Lunaris have had a bug causing them to hit a target multiple times simultaneously when firing additional projectiles. This is particularly powerful with Syndicate Operative Spectres that have been supported to fire multiple projectiles. Fix the skill, which will prevent players taking large bursts of damage in maps with additional projectiles. This will also bring Syndicate Operative Spectres more in line with other Spectres. So yeah, rip. Okay, negative resistances. There's now a negative resistance cap of negative 200. Now possible to obtain high amounts of negative resistances with Scourge item system. Okay. So we've already seen the Xeno League mods. Happy we have Breach. Happy we have Essence. Happy we have Ambush, Beyond, Legion, and Blight. Bloodlines, really, I don't know what place it really has here. What are we gaining by putting Bloodlines on the map? There's nothing tangible there. There's nothing we can, like, work around with Bloodlines. I think it'd be cool if we had Abyss here instead of Bloodlines, but yep, my thoughts. UI improvements. Increased how far you can zoom out or in on the passive tree. Cool. Added a search field to the expedition locker, allowing filtering of stored logbooks. I actually realized that just a couple days ago that wasn't there. The skill bar has been tweaked to fit skill icons a bit more nicely. Skill bar user interface will now display if a skill has dealt a critical strike when you have Elemental Overload Keystone allocated, which is cool. Add a slot for the Sacred Orb, the currency stash. The slot for Parandus coins is now hidden until you add one of these coins. Add slots for Breach Blessings, Flawless Breach Stones, and Unrelenting Timeless Emblems to the Fragment Stash tab. This is cool. Blessings go there. Slots for Alchemical Resonators and the Delve Stash is gone. Added designated slots for Delirious maps to the Delirium Stash tab. Yay! So those are going to show up like the Blighted maps. Now, they're not going to just get randomly lost in your stash. So, quest rewards with new skills, PvP changes, website improvements. Added support for new socket notches. Bug fixes. Fixed a bug where magic and rare monsters in area level 85 plus areas had half the life they were supposed to. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Lots of bug fixes. I'll read through those. Changes since the original post was made. Updated. Ancestral Protector, Ancestral War Chief, and Vault Ancestral War Chief now state the required melee weapon or armed. Okay, added this. Added Quartz Flask now grants 10% chance to suppress spell damage. Okay. This is no longer being gained for dodge. And there we go. That is the patch notes. Summarized. Highlights. What I thought was important to go over. Yeah. It's going to be it for me for today. Once I get this last challenge completed, I'm going to start tinkering with build ideas. So you'll see that coming from me in the next few days. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hit the like button, subscribe. Bye for now.